Here are my 10 essential tips for mastering your starts in Civ 7. Everybody and their dog playing this game is telling me to settle on fresh water, but why? Well, the answer is that towns and cities not founded on fresh water incur a massive -5 happiness penalty, which is a big deal when happiness is vital to keeping your people productive and achieving those powerful celebration events. You can tell which tiles are fresh water by looking for the light blue hexes on the settler lens. As long as it's on fresh water and without other bonuses at play, your capital will start with 5 food, 5 production and 5 happiness. Something else to consider when founding your capital is the surrounding tiles and resources. Now I'm here to help with this. Make sure you have your resource and yield icons turned on because they will make so much difference to your life in general. Some of my favourite tiles to settle near are navigable river tiles because they have high potential when it comes to that all important food production. They're also really fun to use and send boats up and down on. And it's worth keeping in mind that buildings like granaries and saw pits can do a lot for your tile yields when you put them down, so make sure you are building those. Resources are really powerful too in the early game, so you'll want to make sure that you're near some good ones. With your capital city starting with just 5 food and 5 production at best, any resource that gives bonus food and or production, well, it's well worth making a beeline for. Some of my favourites so far are cotton, which gives the city it's assigned to +2 food and +2 production, hides, which give +3 production, and fish, which provide +3 food. All of these are very nice, so go and get them. Whenever a new Civ game comes out, one of the biggest questions is what should I build first? That's very simple in Civ 7 because the answer is a scout, followed by another scout. You want to do this because getting 2 scouts out early helps you find the new variety of goodie huts in the form of ruins, villages and caves, and there's some more, but the bonuses from these are huge and they can give a big boost to areas of the game including culture, science, gold, happiness units and population. Go find them before somebody else does. Knowledge is also power in Civ 7. Knowing what resources, natural wonders, civilizations and independent powers are nearby, well, it's critical when deciding your next moves. Here is a quick bonus tip. In Civ 7, scouts have a new search ability. Selecting this uses up the scout's remaining movement for that turn, but it gives an increased sight range of +1 and reveals goodie huts, or discoveries as they are officially known, within twice the range. It's great for early exploration. One thing I have found out about myself with this game is that I'm weirdly addicted to influence. Well, at least in the early game, but you've got to spend it and spend it wisely. When you send your scouts out, there is a very good chance that you're going to bump into someone like her, or him, or her. Hopefully not him because he is a but whoever it is, use your influence to propose or support endeavours with them. Considering that yields like science and culture are so important, yet so hard to come by in the early game, +6 of either of these is well worth the influence it'll cost. It's also a boost to your relationship with that player, which is a good thing, unless you want to go to war with them. If you are not planning on going to war with somebody at the start of the game, the best civic to go for is mysticism, because getting to mysticism first gives you the pick of all these wonderful pantheons, which can make a big difference in the first few turns once you've got a few altars down. If you are feeling like a bit of a warmongerer though, discipline can also be a good first choice, because this civic gives you access to the army commander unit, the first of which is free, which is just delightful, isn't it, because who doesn't love free stuff? Antiquity Age highlights after that include the entertainment and organised military civics due to the settlement limit increases they include, and don't forget about your Civ's unique civics tree. There's usually some pretty powerful gems hiding in there. Less clear is what tech you should go for first, because that depends on what is around you. After getting agriculture on turn 1, you will be faced with a choice between sailing, pottery and animal husbandry. If there's lots of potential for fishing boats around you, then go for sailing. If it's plantations or clay pits that are surrounding your capital, go for pottery, and if it's camps, woodcutters or pastures, go for animal husbandry. After this, you'll want to pick up writing fairly quickly so that you can build a library and not end up with a really dumb population, or fall behind in science as other people call it. Irrigation is also a nice pickup early on, as it's one of the quickest ways to increase your settlement cap, and currency allows for +1 specialist in each city. These provide a baseline bonus of +2 science and culture, but more importantly, they amplify the adjacency bonuses of the tile that they are assigned to. Who here remembers when Civ used to ram this down your throat every 5 minutes?
We must send settlers to build even more cities across the land. Cities are indeed the most powerful of all human creations.
Well, to be honest, it brainwashed me. So the news that every new settlement after your capital starts out as a town kinda scared me. Thankfully, I am an adult, so by the time my capital reaches 5 population, which is the threshold for building a settler, I'm usually calm enough to train my first settler of the game, and with any luck by 20 turns in, they're well on their way to founding my first town. A couple of things worth remembering when you're managing towns. Firstly, their production is automatically turned into gold, so it's better to assign any resources that give bonus production to cities, and secondly, you can use gold to purchase buildings in them, which segues nicely to my next tip. Make sure that you are spending your gold. I used to be like Ebenezer Scrooge, I'll hold my hands up. I just never wanted to spend my gold, but hoarding it turns out is frankly stupid. The best use of gold in Civ 7's early game, as I was just mentioning, is for buildings in towns. Without production and a production queue, towns are helpless little things, but if you want them to live up to their full potential, you're gonna need to invest in buildings like a granary or a fishing quay or an altar, something like that. You can also spend gold to turn a few of these towns into cities once they get a little bit more established. I would generally advise against spending gold on units, but there are some situations, such as when you desperately need reinforcements in a war, when you basically have to. The strength of hostile independent powers, especially the aggressive militaristic ones, really caught me off guard in my first few games of Civ 7. They are very easy to identify because, as opposed to friendly independent powers, they have a red border around their city name and units, as if to just express how evil they are. They'll probably rock up to your border with an army too, which is a bit of a giveaway. My advice is to take them out. The free army commander you receive after researching discipline, let it lead a few warriors and slingers against these glorified barbarians, disperse their settlement, and that's problem over. When I'm playing as a militaristic civ like Rome, I'll actually go on the hunt for these hostile independent powers to farm XP and gain promotions for my first commander. Having an already powerful commander is a nice tool for when I inevitably turn on my neighbours. Something that I wish I knew earlier is that units heal faster within friendly territory, such as your lands or the lands of a city-state that you are suzerain of. Knowing this is really important when planning wars, because the speed at which you can get your damaged units back up to full strength and on the front lines is a key determinant to how successful your wars will be. If you find that your units aren't healing fast enough for your liking though, there's a few ways to get them to heal faster. Firstly, do not be scared to pillage enemy tiles when at war. Once you know this tip, it seems so obvious, but honestly, it can make such a difference when attacking an enemy. It essentially allows your troops to heal within one turn. If you've got a town close to the front lines, another thing you can do is change that town's focus to a fort town. This will give all units within its borders an additional +5 to healing. If that healing still isn't enough for you, if you're still demanding more, then after researching mysticism, try and grab the God of Healing Pantheon, because this gives units standing on rural tiles 5 extra HP per turn. Unlocking the Field Medic promotion for an army commander also gives units in its command radius +5 healing when in enemy or neutral territory, so that is a promotion that you really want to prioritise if you're having issues with keeping your army healthy. There are so many ways to boost the healing of your units in Civ 7, keep them in mind when you're planning your next attack. I would love to hear your biggest tips for mastering the early game down in the comments. If you want to learn more about Civ 7's biggest features, watch the video on your screen now. Thank you for watching today, I appreciate all of your support and I'll catch you soon.